His Girl
Yes.
Friday.
I
Okay,
love
let's start.
cocaine.
Let's start right now with the discussion we were having last night. His
Hey, this
Girl
movie's
Friday.
hilarious.
What does
Yes, it is.
What does the
Now,
name?
this movie I've seen like probably
What
5
does the
times.
title mean?
I
Friday
would like
Friday
somebody to
is
explain the
the
title to me.
Friday is the name of the incredibly racist character in Robinson Crusoe, who is his assistant.
Okay.
So this is a
Girl Friday.
Friday.
Was it?
Can
Was
you
Friday?
edit this
Was,
out
was
so my
a
wife
Friday?
is
That
not
was a
And
common.
is there
That
is
was
there
a common nickname for assistants, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
But
Yes, it was.
Rosalind Russell was never an assistant. She was her own person. She was a reporter.
Right, but she's his assistant in as much as she's helping him with the
He's his right hand.
right.
does anyone
yeah.
know
Star reporter.
Does
Okay.
anyone know if there's any truth to I had either read or heard that the original draft of this was two men and then
Yes,
they
because
changed
front page, the play that it's based on
Front
is
page.
two men.
Two men.
That's
Okay,
right.
there
Yeah.
it is. There it is.
And so
This is
there's
so
two
good.
there's two different stories about this, which is one either he was doing a reading of it to talk about fast-paced comedy at a dinner party, and he had a female what's his name, the director,
Hawks.
Howard Hawks.
Yeah.
He was doing a reading of it at a dinner party to show what fast-paced comedy was like, and he was running lines with a female guest, and he liked the way that the female guest was reading
that
the
makes
part
sense.
so well.
The light bulb went on.
Or he was doing auditions for the main character and had a female secretary reading the lines to the actors, and liked the way it came out of a woman so well that he had Ben Hecht go back and rewrite it to have a female lead and have a relationship, a love story between the two of them.
Which I wonder, I would love to see front page,
inspired.
because to me, the relationship, is such an integral part of this story and
Yeah.
of this. And
the
if you
relationship
didn't have
in front page is intimate
I guess
in
it
a
must be
non-sexual
friendship,
way.
right? It's friendship, but
Yeah.
it raises the stakes when it's romantic, right?
It is.
Right.
This is
Absolutely.
the stakes in here are highly raised because you also it's a love triangle basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
those aren't
love
the only
triangle- but
stakes.
The love triangle isn't between
there's a
the
whole
love triangle
backstory.
isn't between him and her and him. The love triangle is between him and her and reporting.
Yes.
Like,
The
Yeah,
career
right.
is actually
And-
the other
So
thing.
it's more of a love square.
yeah.
I imagined Chris watching this with the old timey fast dialogue and what he thought about that.
What did Chris feel about the old timey fast dialogue?
All right. So let me do this stuff.
Because this kind of stuff doesn't bother me.
This is the king of old timey fast
Oh
dialogue.
my god.
It is. That's why I picked it.
There are things about this movie that were
810 another one.
eyebrow raisers, not the least of which is Cary Grant disappears for like the middle 2/3, 3/4 of this movie.
Yeah, what the
He
hell?
had to go get drunk, man.
But that was like Matrix 3. Where the hell he go?
He just left.
Yeah.
He came back
He
and
went
left.
into the
Well, he
shop
was
and
on the
came out
phone
blind.
apparently all the time.
I will tell you that at a certain point, something clicked and I just started watching it in awe of what it must have been like to rehearse, choreograph, and edit and shoot this fucking
Film it. Just think about filming it.
It must have been taken.
I've seen a lot. I mean, like
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
This movie gets by on like the precision of people going boom, 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 but no
And
ever
talking
steps
over
on
each
each
other.
other's dialogue.
Yeah, it's great.
Like,
Yeah.
and I
Well,
think about like,
well,
we've
that's
all
why
worked-
this is that's why it comes from theater, because thetheater,
right.
that's what theater
But
is
it-
about.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the pacing,
rarely
and
Which is
doing
why
it.
it's all in that one room
They
too.
go this fast, and I was thinking like, you think about this movie and you think about like, oh, I don't know anything by John Cassavetes, where it's like
Where it's
how
the
much
opposite, so
easier it must
loose.
have been to rehearse a movie where it's just people like just sitting around shooting.
Howard Hawks loved improvisation, and apparently a lot of this is improvised.
I
as
can't
well.
even believe that.
That's amazing.
No, the law of
That's-
improv in
that's
this. I read that
amazing.
too.
Huh.
Well, they must be. I mean,
The verbal choreography.
yeah.
And again, like scene after scene where people are talking as fast as it is humanly possible to talk and still be intelligible, and yet
Yeah.
they are not Like, how many takes did some of those?
Well, mind you,
Good question.
A lot of his
let's
movies
stop
are
for a
like
second.
that,
The thing
though,
is,
Chris.
this a lot of this stuff was improv, but it's 1930s improv, which means that they would go on set and start giving their lines, and they would hit something really fun, and Howard Hawks would go with the scripty to write it in, and so it was always controlled.
It's radio improv.
It's radio
Yeah.
improv, exactly right.
Mhm.
That's
when
what's
you're
going on here.
Also, here's
And they
the
did a
actual
radio
result.
version of this. There's a 30-minute radio version of this, and
I can't imagine if I
And
make
it's
30
the two-
minutes.
30 minutes.
It's
They make
30
your
minutes,
speaker
and
explode.
It's the two of them. It's the two of them mostly. It has very few other characters, and I've heard it, and it's incredible because it's somehow even more fast-paced than this.
Wow.
Like,
Imagine.
It really was like, so even though, yes, I struggle with old timey movie dialogue, I was like, whoa, like, holy shit.
Watching it again this time though, what really struck me that I never saw before is how absolutely horrible all of these people are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yes,
Not
they
a one
are-
good character
They're
in
like
this whole
the
movie.
cast of
Like-
Seinfeld.
Except for
yeah.
yeah, like
Exactly
it's
right.
the whole
Molly and him are the only good people in
And-
this
and
movie,
Bruce.
and they get
True.
punished over and over.
And Bruce is a
over.
nice guy.
Bruce
Yeah.
is a nice guy.
Enough the killer
But
is
everyone else,
too.
but even the
Yeah.
this is
No,
the
he's an
kind of
asshole.
movie. This is the kind of movie that depicted the definition or perpetuated the stereotype of the detachment that news people have to actual humanity.
Yeah, reporters come off really bad in this.
Get
in
the
this
story at any cost, and then if you really think about, I mean, there's no other actor maybe in history that oozes charisma as much as Cary Grant, but he is a snake and a half. I mean, he is a piece of shit. He
Never been
is.
queenier.
Also, that's why there's a disclosure in the front of the film. There's a disclaimer.
Well, yeah,
in the film
except
saying,
the disclosure is really
the
tongue in
disclaimer is
cheek.
saying like, oh no, this is not how reporters are now. This is the way we think reporters are like, ha ha ha.
They had to do that for the code.
Yes.
The code
Yeah.
was so upset that they were shitting on reporters that he puts that in and then changes nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
Yeah.
absolutely
It's
nothing.
absolutely
Once you
1940.
excuse the behavior,
I-
you can actually run with the
The,
behavior at the end of the film. That's the thing, right?
I will say the
It's
big.
very reminiscent of the disclosure at the beginning of Kane Mutiny, where because they got the cooperation of the Navy,
The Navy.
they had to like say, well, of course we've never had a mutiny and we never would,
Yeah.
overlooking
Yeah.
the 130 people who mutinied.
Yeah.
Just 50 miles
That's
to
right.
the south of
And
us
also
there.
was that same thing at the beginning of The Public Enemy. It's like,
Yeah.
well, this is about criminals. I know it's a great shooting and killing in this thing, but this is your problem.
Yeah.
That's great.
Wasn't Public Enemy pre-code?
It was, but still, they laid it on
Probably
the
right
public
before.
enemy.
They still had to put a.
regardless of all that,
disclaimer in there.
I love this fucking movie. It's so much fun. It's so funny. It's so.
I was
Great.
telling you,
Really funny.
But that thing earlier about
I
that.
actually wish people talked like this.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking of picking was because the first film 1, 2, 3 made me think of old screwball comedies. I toyed with picking Hudsucker Proxy
Oh yeah.
That's the
Sure.
remake of this thing, basically.
because it's it's sort of a later take on
Yeah,
what
yeah.
this
For the
genre
kids.
is.
For
the
sure.
kids.
For
Probably
kids.
the weakest Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the
I-
weakest.
Except for
too.
Jennifer Jason Leigh's impression of
Excuse
Catherine
me.
Hepburn.
I beg your pardon.
I agree with
Intolerable
Jim.
cruelty exists.
Yeah.
Guys,
that
was
is-
a terrible,
I
terrible
like that
film.
movie.
The Lady Killers.
The Lady Killers is
Lady
really
Killers.
terrible too.
That's the
Lewin
worst one.
Davis exists too, and that film
No,
sucks.
What, the original Lady Killer?
I don't like
No,
Llewellyn Davis
the
either.
Coen
and I don't
Brothers.
like Hudson.
Llewellyn is a close second. I hated
I
it.
never should have brought up the Coen Brothers.
Okay, cutting this part
I
out.
did.
Hold on, 8:15.
No, you're keeping.
No,
it
it's relevant.
in.
It's relevant.
I guess so. But
So- May I connect the dots back to the previous film?
by all means,
Because this is the difference. And the reason this film is superior is that there are stakes. Things that happen in this movie matter, and they're not afraid to have darkness come into this movie.
From the beginning, there's stakes.
It's hella dark, dude. Like that scene where all the reporters just like fucking gang up on the Molly Malone character to the point where she's just out
Oh
of
my
her
God.
mind.
That
It's so
sucks.
mean. And it's like everybody in the room knows what they did because after she walks out, it's just silent.
That
And
actress was
really,
doing
she's great at that. But
she was doing her best Judy Garland.
yeah, right.
Well, they all
God,
run
dude.
over. They
But-
all run
more or
over and
less.
look out.
But
they
I'm
all
just
run over and
saying.
Look out the window, and then they're like, their reporter brain kicks back in, and they
Yeah.
have to go outside. And
Well,
report
and it's
on
a
it.
it's an interesting script too in that sense, John, when it starts out, because you hear about the shooting and he shot a black cop, and that is something that they talk about because
Yes.
they're like we need the they call it the colored vote.
Right. The mayor's going to make hay out of this.
Yeah,
so,
and
yeah.
I just thought about,
yeah.
oh my gosh, like that's such a weird. I mean, in 1940, like wow,
Yeah.
We could subtitle this. I forgot all the racism.
Yeah.
Because boy, there's a lot of racism.
No, it saws back and forth between, okay, the guy shot a black cop, and it's like, that's bad, but you need a colored vote. But also, it's like, it almost made, in this particular kind of milieu, the bad guy not so bad.
Yeah,
You know what
no,
I mean?
they were. He was supposed
It
to
might
be
be.
the innocent of
Well,
sorts.
Yeah.
and the scene
It
where
was
the guy
kinda- it's
shows up and
fucked
starts
up.
and just starts using that word over and over again in the phone about the woman who gave birth in the car, and it's or in the cab.
Yes.
And it's
Oh, you
just
mean
like,
the word that starts
oh,
with P?
yes, please stop saying that.
Yeah.
Like, I really need you to stop using that word.
Mhm.
Like, that's oh boy, yeah. There's definitely, because I haven't seen this since I was probably like 15 or 16.
I never
I had forgotten.
I had forgotten too.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Like,
Well, and
showed
going
this
back
on
to
fucking
Cary
PBS
Grant's,
when I was a kid.
like he put her mother-in-law, like they pretty much thought she was dead, and they were kind of okay with it.
Yeah.
No,
They were
she's
like-
completely fine with it. She's basically
I
just
know.
like, sucks to be her, and
Yeah.
moves on. Like,
She's all, I'm a newspaper man.
There's so many dark streaks in this thing. There's the whole Molly Malloy plot line. She ends up jumping out of a
What did you
window.
gonna
She's-
do to me? What did you think?
She's so distraught she jumps out a window. It immediately becomes part of the story.
Auto
and they're like, she's
defenstration.
dead. And it's
There's
like,
an
no, she's
interview
moving
with the
around, and they all run outside.
There's an interview with a guy in a cell who's condemned to death, and that's not very funny.
That looked very Hannibal Lecter, don't you
Yeah,
think?
it did.
Yeah,
It
it looked good.
did.
It looked good. That's the best set in this movie.
It was amazing.
Also, speaking of stakes, there's this real pain that Walter feels over his divorce, and that's real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like compared to the way that the Cagney character was cheating on his wife in the first movie in 1, 2, 3, which didn't really friggin' matter.
No.
This all mattered.
Yeah.
Everything mattered, and that's why it was funny too.
And boy, can Cary Grant wear a suit.
Oh, he looks great.
He's the best. I love Cary Grant.
Uh-huh.
They both can wear the shit.
Yes,
They
she
both do.
wears a suit.
Rosalind Russell is
Although,
no
That
slouch,
hat
dude.
was that. I was annoyed by that hat the first part of the film.
She had a couple hats though.
The
She's
hat is
rocking 'em.
iconic.
Those
Man,
hats were
sometimes
straight
you
out of
just
the
She's trying to
movie.
land a
closet.
freaking
Yeah, right?
airplane, man.
I heard you, Jim.
Shoe on her head.
Sometimes you just go to your closet and you go, I need dazzle camo.
I
and
need
you
it.
just take out whatever the
What do you
most
think?
dazzle
guess.
camo thing is, and
Yeah.
off you go.
It does look
But
like
she's
that.
taking
To
partic-
confuse the other reporters.
she's
Right.
taking
They
particular
don't know how
risks
far
though
away
because
you
she
are.
has a striped suit jacket
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
And then she wears a hat that has actually like
zigzags.
like zigzag strap types.
Like I said,
It's,
she's trying to land a freaking airplane in this the first
Yeah,
part of the
yeah.
film here.
I
Nuts.
was thinking about like
No,
what
she's
this must
breaking
look
up.
like
She's
in
breaking
old
up her
school
silhouette.
television.
I guess.
She's got some she's got some
Watching
guts.
this on what 480p on old school televisions back in the day, UHF, and like what would happen to that? The lines in those hats.
Yeah,
They're like green and pink.
Exactly.
You're actually hypnotized by the end of the picture.
Right. It's everybody loves Hypnotoad. It's just
Yeah, pretty
the
much.
lines going in the background and the eyes.
We have a
wiggling.
huge Jim's corner built up here.
I think so. Yeah, you must be ready to pop.
Love this.
No, I love it. It's a great movie, and I've always liked Howard Hawks. His women, although Rosalind Russell can hold her own against Carrie, which is pretty impressive, but like Only Angels Have Wings, and there's a couple of other ones that he made, like the Bogart.
Prefer
the Polar
his
one.
you prefer his version of the Thing.
And yes,
I remember her.
but it was the choreography with people too was pretty good, or the blocking,
Oh,
yeah.
They had all those scenes in like the restaurant, the newsroom, and the reporter's room.
No,
The
They're just
restaurant
like-
scene single-handedly delayed this movie by a week.
Wait, what?
What did?
It took the restaurant scene. It took
Yeah.
them so long to film and edit the restaurant scene that it delayed the production of this movie by a week.
Well, that's the thing.
And
Remember I pointed out earlier that the blocking was amazing because Rosalind Russell, this is not in the shot behind Chris, but she's half in the frame.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some. They were thinking like they're staying up at night thinking about how to do 3 shots in this
It
stuff.
was
Shot so well.
at a certain point, it became so apparent to me that like it's like it's like listening to what the Beatles were able to do with a 4-track.
Yeah.
Think about what these guys were able to do with those giant 75-pound cameras.
The big Mitchells, yeah.
And like just
on crab dollies.
Inspiring. Like holy shit! Like this is the most comparatively primitive filmmaking technology, and yes, I'm sure they brought a whole lot of expertise from, as Jared pointed out, rehearsing and getting making plays. But
I love that Cary Grant totally had like Cary Grant had on his retainer, he had a gangster, he had a prostitute, like he had, he's like, I can pull out these people that can do shit, like send the blonde down to the car.
Oh yeah, I know.
Have a Louis, kidnapper. Like he's just like, he
was a very capable person. He was a very capable character, that's for sure. He could do anything.
Well, he's just willing to do anything to get his story.
Well, the amount of money he's willing to throw around too, like it's just.
But
he's also very cheap.
Some of it counterfeit,
penny pinching.
Right. Yes, well, some of
it was 39.
Although the counterfeit money wasn't because he didn't want to give him the money; it's because he wanted
to get him in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
That poor guy, man. He kept getting nailed every time.
My favorite.
That guy that looks a lot like Ralph Bellamy, the movie actor.
Bellamy, that guy looks like Ralph Bellamy.
I have to say though,
they wanted to cut that line.
They shouldn't have.
The studio
it was
wanted
good.
to cut that line.
That was funny. There's a couple of
and that's to the prostitute. That's to the prostitute.
There's that line where he says that Ralph Bellamy looks like the movie actor Ralph Bellamy. There's that, and then there's the scene where he mentions Archibald Leach.
Yeah,
I did catch that.
I know. I bet you no one back then caught that.
That was clever.
My favorite absolute character
Might be
in
the
this
only
movie though.
I laughed.
It's the scene in the newsroom, or where all the writers,
the reporters' room at the prison.
Press room. It's the press room. It's when the mayor is there, and my absolute favorite character is the portly fellow who shows up just to give them like a message.
Oh yeah, and he cannot lie.
And he's like, well, like that whole where he's like, well, my wife, I know I have to take my pill. Oh, what? No, that whole, and he's like, listen, I'm gonna give you want to work it, like that. I mean, that whole time, I had a
it just
smile
comes off him like it just bounces off this guy. It's great.
And he's like that chemistry, the timing,
he was just spiraling
that energy because that guy has no clue. It's like they're trying so hard to bribe him, and he's just like, "Oh no, I don't think so."
Yeah, he's like, "I don't know, maybe."
But
there's moments where he gets it too, where he's like, "Well, I did." Hey, he's like, it's just like it's so perfect. It's
wonderful,
brilliant.
Yeah.
The one I liked was the one I used for the clip where they started shooting because the guy escaped, the bad guy. I mean, the murder. And it's like the whole choreography going through the window and getting on the phone and talking and running out the door. That was just, it flowed like, it's like a salmon going upstream.
Also the cops just start shooting up at the window.
I know, it's like, what the hell? Breaking out all the glass.
We kill a few reporters, it's not a big loss.
No, because it keeps coming up. It's like, oh, we're going to go watch the cops kill another innocent person.
I know.
Like,
I know, I definitely got the impression that life was pretty cheap back then. You know what I mean?
Well, I think
this movie
I don't know.
Is a cab from top to bottom.
Yes, it is.
Not only, life is cheap.
Also, Arab. All reporters
bullets just fly in any direction and they don't care. They're just like, oh, it's just bullets flying around.
Yeah, we ran here. We call it Wednesday. It's like,
well, did anybody else recognize John Quaylen there for the guy who's
the guy who's on death row?
No, what was it? What else was he in?
He's in Casablanca. He's the Norwegian guy.
Oh wow!
The ring
I'll have to look for that next time I watch it.
I didn't know.
Studio pictures.
But I didn't make connection.
Studio pictures.
Okay.
Oh,
he's also in one of my favorite movies, John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart, Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. He's the guy who runs he plays a Swede in that one.
That was like 1960 thereabouts. So but this was definitely
like this is what Nordic people look like, I guess.
This is Warner Brothers, right? In 1949, This has that Warner Brothers look to it. It's just that it's all full studio. It's all in the sound stages. It's all built. It's all fake. And it has that kind of connection with the Warner's crime dramas from the earlier 30s.
Warner Brothers was known for like doing problem pictures too.
Yeah.
So, and this one,
Yeah,
was
this was
kind
a
of
problem picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when this connects to Casablanca really well in terms of being a total artifice, but telling something about the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good stuff.
Also,
Well said. Well said.
so much smoking.
All right. Well,
There's so much smoke.
Yeah,
So much
well.
Oh my
smoking.
god.
but
there's
that
so
was
much-
Also,
Because they
people
weren't bad
talking-
for you yet.
People
They weren't
talking on
bad for
two
you yet.
telephones at once.
yeah. Also,
They-
you notice, I noticed about these old
No,
films
doctors
is
were recommending cigarettes.
there was
They
also
were.
there was
Calm
always
down.
a
What you
fan,
need to do is lay down and have a
They
smoke.
soothe your throat, Tad.
there's always a fan just off
Give-
the camera. So
Nurse.
when
A
there's
glass of wine and a couple of a pack of cigarettes for
Yeah.
a pregnant lady.
Chesterfields.
yeah. You ever notice that the smoke always wafts away from their faces? There's always a fan on the
Oh,
Yeah.
every time to get that.
I
smoke
gotta
out
watch
of
for that.
it. You see it a lot once you start noticing it.
So the line that is perpetually quoted around our house is "Get back in there, you muck turtle."
And you know what that's a reference to?
No, I don't.
No, it's hilarious on its own. What is
Cary
it?
Grant played the
Is that when he's in the
Turtle
Rolodex?
in
The
Alice in
Rolodesk?
Wonderland?
Yes, he's in the
Wait,
role of
what?
death.
That's right. He,
played-
did.
He played the mock turtle in
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in
Alice in
Wonderland?
No, no.
Wonderland.
Oh,
Was it-
funny.
Yeah, that's right. The 30s version
I
of Alice
just,
in Wonderland.
I just couldn't get
Yeah.
over the Molly lady. Like, I just thought, I was like, is this? It's Judy Garland in Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
No, that's not
what
not
did,
wrong.
What did you think it was going to be? What are you doing? And looking at him like that.
And you know, when she jumps out the window, she's sort of like one of the flicks we just saw recently. Who jumps out the window there?
Oh, that was in
The piano.
Ida.
Agnes, or whatever the hell it was called.
Ida.
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 Ida, yeah, where she just goes to the and
Goodbye.
she does it too. She's like, don't harass me. And she
Except in
just
Ida,
jumps
she
out.
just kind of.
I'll show you guys.
But in Ida, she like changed her clothes. She lit a cigarette. She put on a record. It was
Yeah.
it was kind of ceremonial.
It was classy.
Yeah, and this was like a sprint. This was a fucking sprint, dude.
I know.
Well,
She
she
ran
didn't-
out that window, man.
She didn't have any records, and she didn't have
Shouldn't have any wine.
any dress.
She would've
Ida
had
was
to
more
borrow
like
the
Ida was
cigarette
more
from
like
somebody.
Ida was beautiful because she's all the crimes that she
Right.
I'm not detracting from Ida. It was one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
It was.
All right.
But yeah, it's funny.
Let's
Auto defenestration.
Let's go with the cards
Yes.
on this one.
It's
I love this movie.
sure.
Yeah.
So good, so good.
All right.
Even Chris has to admit.
I can't say that I loved it, but I appreciate it.
You know
Can't
what?
deny the
What-
power.
The hell out of it.
Once you know the word pace is
admire the hell out of it.
240 words a minute, when you kind of get used to it.